Okay, so let's talk about closing costs when selling your home. Nobody likes to be surprised by closing costs, and they just seem like an expense that everybody grins and bears it, and they're surprised when they get the closing statement, and it's just horrible, but you're already in the middle of a transaction, and there's really not that much you can do. So let's review them, and what I have here is an actual copy of a closing statement from a recent transaction that I did in the Shoreline area, and this house was about 600,000. So if your home is more or less than that, you can kind of adjust things to compensate. But let's just go through what the items are, and then we'll have a better idea of what the closing costs might be in your case when you're selling your home. This is Emily Cressey, your digitally enabled Puget Sound community advisor. So the first thing is that you're going to be responsible for evening out any of the taxes or utilities that haven't been paid. So when they look at it, if you've paid your taxes, then the buyer will reimburse you for the taxes that are for the days that they will be spending in the property. If you have not paid your taxes and they are due, then you'll need to catch up all the taxes to be ready for the date. Most people are able to pay their taxes in advance. So typically this is a credit where you're getting money from the buyers to have them pay you the property taxes on a per diem rate for the days that they are living in the property. And the same thing goes with utilities. If you pay your utilities in advance, you'll get reimbursed from the buyer. If you pay your utilities in arrears, then you'll be billed for the utilities for the days that you have been in the property. So the closing people are going to calculate the taxes and the utilities for the days that you live in the property. The next thing to take a look at is your mortgage. So obviously when you're selling the property, this is the time that any debt that is secured by the property will be paid off. So if you have a first mortgage, a second mortgage, a home equity line of credit, any tax liens or mechanics liens or any other debt that is secured by the property will need to be paid off at the time of closing. So typically there aren't a lot of surprises here, but your closing agent will get in touch with your lender and find out exactly what is owed on the anticipated day of closing so that they can make sure that when you get the proceeds coming in from the buyer, the correct amount is going out to your lender to pay off your loan. And that's something that will appear on the title record, and they need to make sure that that's clean unless you're doing any kind of like wraparound loan or owner financing that involves keeping the current mortgage in place. That's not very common. Since I know everybody likes to have dollar figures associated with these things, let's just say, well, you know what your mortgage is. Let's say it's $300,000. You'll need to pay off that $300,000. Most people don't think of that as a closing cost, so I'm not going to round that into our numbers. As far as utilities, these folks paid about $300 for their share of the utilities, and they closed right in the middle of the month on the 15th of the month. So the next thing that you want to look at is your real estate commission. That's how I get paid. And the nice thing is that you don't pay until you get the results that you want. So typically 6% is a common figure, although it can vary. And there are discount brokers that charge less. I am a full service broker, so I charge 6%. And actually, I do not get all of that. 3% goes to my brokerage firm. 3% goes to the firm of the agent who brings the buyer. And then from what goes to the firm, some of that gets paid off to my insurance, my service fees, my advertising, and to my broker to keep them in business. That's where I need to associate my license. So only a portion of that actually comes to me. But you can allow 6% as a figure for a closing cost that you'll be responsible for at the time of the closing. The next group of charges is the title company charges. So one of the things that you'll be responsible for is giving a title insurance policy to the next owner. And this ensures you're basically saying, I am the owner, I have paid off all of the liens, I promise that everything has gotten taken care of, and I guarantee that your ownership that I'm conveying to you is full ownership, legal, legitimate. And in order for the buyer to feel comfortable with that, they have a title company do that research, that they research the title. You'll get a title abstract as a buyer, and that just says what the ownership is, what the encumbrances are, and making sure that everything's been taken care of correctly. And then we have insurance for that, which says, and we guarantee it, if any problems come up indicating that the research that we did was not correct, then we will pay to have that fixed to make sure that you have clear ownership. And that title fee in this case was about $1,400. Then there's a whole bunch of other little ticky-tacky fees. Sales tax for the title insurance, the release tracking fee to the title company, the settlement or closing fee is actually a big one. That's $1,000. So that's the fee that the closing agent actually gets. An in-house signing fee, sales tax on release fee, sales tax on settlement fee. So these are just little, whatever. The title company adds them on. Consider them $100 each. Some of them are $5 or $7. So altogether, you've got $1,000 for the settlement fee, and then that looks like about about $350 for those other fees that I mentioned. The other biggie is the excise tax. So Washington State has what's called an excise tax, which is basically a sales tax on the conveyance of property. So anytime anybody anywhere in the state sells a property, about 1% of it gets taken out as this sales tax. And the actual percentage varies depending on the location and the value of the property. But just know that that's going to be in there. And on this property, it was $9,000, which is, again, the property is priced a little under $600,000. So that's it. We've got the title insurance fee, which was $1,000, the closing cost fee, which was $1,000, paying off your utilities, which is maybe $300. We've got the excise tax fee, maybe $10,000, and the real estate commission, which was 6% of the purchase price. So adding that up should give you a great idea of what kinds of closing costs you might be looking at as a seller when you go to sell your home. So just doing the numbers quickly in my head, these came up to around $45,000 on a $600,000 home sale. So that should give you a good idea. I always have in my mind when I'm selling an investment property or something that I'm going to have 10% transaction cost just between holding it vacant, doing some repairs, having all these transaction costs and that type of thing. In this particular case, it turned out to be quite a bit less than that. But if you go in with that number in mind, you should have a great idea of what it's going to cost, and having all of the professional help that you need to get this done smoothly and quickly should be a great way for you to get the next sale done. So if you are thinking about selling your home and have any more questions about the specifics of that, I would be happy to get you in touch with the right people so you can have a clear estimate of what's going on. If you would like an assessment of the value of your home and the amount that you can anticipate walking away with on a sale, I'll go dig down in the numbers for you and take a look at those things and give you a good snapshot of your current equity. So whether you're moving or refinancing or planning to buy something else, you'll kind of know what your check is going to look like when you're walking away from the closing table. So you can be armed with that knowledge when you're putting together your plan for your next steps after your sale. My name is Emily Cressey. I am a real estate broker here in the Shoreline Washington area, North Seattle. I would love to work with you. I'm an investor, have been for almost the last 20 years now, and just really enjoy connecting with people and helping them get the most value out of their home or their real estate investment. So if that's something I can help you with, Email, direct message, private message. Come to my website, homeproassociates.com. Check out my YouTube and my Facebook, HomePro Associates. We're all over the place, and we're here to give you good information so that you can be educated and make the right choices for you with your next real estate transaction. Let me know how I can help. I am here to serve.